Hey guys, welcome back to Black Hollywood Live Next, where we keep it hot. Today is no different. You've seen his face on Lifetime's UnREAL. It's the one and only Gentry White. And of course, I'm excited about some of the topics we have today. We're talking about Nas's new produced movie, The Land. We're also doing an acoustic cover of Beyonce's song, Sorry. And then last but not least, should Keisha Pulliam Knight get a paternity test or not? More of that right here on all you can see right now on Black Hollywood Live Next.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Live Next.
Yes, it's Friday, so we turn up. Welcome back to Black Hollywood Live Next, where we keep it hot. We tell you who's next on the scene in Hollywood and all the people that you have to know. I'm Megan Thomas at MegScoop on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever you want to find me. And who are you guys?
I'm your co-host, James Ward III. You can find me at James Ward, III, across all platforms as well.
And I'm your other co-host, Michelle Madison. You can find me on Instagram at Michelle_MadisonTV.
And yes, you have seen his face on Lifetime's hit show, UnREAL. The one and only Gentry White. Give it up. Yes, Gentry. Welcome. We're so glad you're here to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we were talking about this a second ago. You said Gentry is your real name, correct?
Gentry is my real name. It's part of my real name.
Wait, what's your real name?
My full name is Ian Gentry Cameron White.
Wow.
Oh, you got all the names.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is when I was in high school, I added the third to it.
What?
Just because I thought it sounded better. Kind of like James Ward. That's why I always remember James. Because it was like Ian Gentry Cameron White the third. It sounded like somebody like of note.
Legacy.
Yeah. Like, y'all have money.
Yeah, we
and
got
I'm
money.
I'm going to borrow some. Let me hold $5.
Exactly.
No? Just $5? Okay.
See the way my bank account is set
Okay.
up?
Right.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah. But that's so funny that you actually do that because, you know, a lot of people would think, oh, okay, that's his real name. And so the fact that you now have shortened it to Gentry White instead of all
Thank
the
you.
extra stuff, I like
Look,
it.
that's
So.
my mama. That was all my mom.
It's all your mom.
Yeah.
It's all your mom. Well, let's get into a little bit of casting news before we get all up in Gentry's business. Today, there's a new movie that's out in select theaters. It's called The Land, and it's actually produced by Nas, the one and only Nasir Jones himself. Let's see a little clip. Yes, yeah, we got a little bit of technical difficulty, but that's okay. Let's talk about this movie, though. It's really cool because it's by Stephen Caple Jr. Of course, he wrote it and he directed it. Erykah Badu is in the movie.
Now, she did an awesome job.
She's, I love her.
Yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly.
She's a Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
Michael K. Williams from The Wire. And then also, not only is this an amazing movie because it's about 4 teens and their life on the streets of Cleveland, which, you know, we don't really get to see Cleveland much. You know, nobody's really doing stuff there. But we get to see what it's like for them. And then in addition to that, the soundtrack is killer because Nas curated it. He's got a song on there with Erykah Badu, and it's their first collaboration. It's a really great song. Machine Gun Kelly, Pusha T, French Montana, all of Kanye, everybody's got a song on this soundtrack. Wow. It's huge.
What's crazy is I haven't even heard of this movie. And usually I'm like on top of like if it got a lot of us in it.
Yeah.
I usually know.
It's an indie, and it actually got a lot of buzz at Sundance this year.
Okay, so that's what that is.
And
Right.
Steven,
That's
this is like his big directorial debut, and he's actually, I know him from out of SC, so fire on all you Trojans out there.
He's amazing. I mean, I feel like does he do music as well? Because he did something that had to do with the music here.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Well, I know he told me yesterday that music is usually a hard part when you do the movie because that's a lot of money.
Okay, tell
And with
him where he told you this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
me.
So I got to see The Land yesterday. I covered the red carpet, and I got to speak with Nas and Steven. So Steven was saying that, you know, music is a big part of a film, and usually that's a lot of money. So when Nas came on as executive producer, him providing some music was a part of the deal. So they got a little, snazz. But yes, congratulations his directorial debut because it was awesome.
Right,
I couldn't tell
right.
it was his first time.
Well, let's watch a little clip. It's from the trailer of The Land.
You're a grown man now. You can make your own decisions.
You have to do something with your life. What are you good at?
Yeah, this is a letter to the streets. Yeah, this is a letter to the hood.
Do you even care about your future?
What I speak. Yeah, I promise that we gon' be good.
This is a prison.
You be better in my eye. Yeah, and you can see it in the air. Hey,
Of course, we're in Cleveland.
stay outside. Sound like coming, kinda Kendrick, kinda cold.
It's our time.
I'm twice as hungry, them niggas is twice as old.
We can get out.
Yeah, this movie, I'm so excited to see it. And actually, one of the main characters, he's the one that's doing that song that you hear. His name's Ezzy. So that's amazing. You're acting, everybody put your talents in to make this work.
Steven actually stalked him on social media to get him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. So let's talk. That's a good.
He went to his father's barbershop to find him.
Wow.
Because they couldn't find him
That's
on social
dedication.
media.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
I really like that.
All right, let's talk about some new music, James. What we got going for the Fresh Beatz?
Ironically enough, Duran Bernard, who was actually from Cleveland too.
Oh, it's just a Cleveland day.
It's the Cleveland show, not
Right.
really. But, so he sings background for Erykah Badu. So and he released an acoustic cover of Beyonce's "Sorry" off of her latest album. So let's take a look.
Now you wanna say you're sorry. Now you wanna call me crying. Now you wanna see me wildin'. Now I'm the one that's lying, and I don't feel bad about it. That's exactly what you get. Stop interrupting my grinding. You interrupting my grinding. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you, yeah. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about.
So he is clearly very talented.
I mean, yes. He doesn't need to be anyone's backup dancer. Backup singer. He's amazing.
Yeah.
His vocal range, and if you want to check him out, he actually has a whole YouTube page. He has Instagram. You can follow him at his name, at Durand Bernard, with 2 R's at the end. And if you actually want to check him out, since we're talking about up-and-coming new artists, he's going to be performing on July 30th at the Soul Spot here in LA. All the details you can find out on his social.
Nice.
I've actually had the chance to see him in person at Stevie Mackey's house on a Taco Tuesday night thing, and he did Maxwell, Pretty Wings, and just blew me away. I'll show you on my phone. I have it later. But,
oh my goodness.
Anyway, I think we have a lot of exciting things to look out for Durand.
Yes. And we actually have had Stevie Mackey on this show a while ago. He's amazing. He's an amazing vocal coach. If you are a singer, then you know who Stevie Mackey is. All right, let's talk about what's next or nah, Michelle. What we got going on?
Oh, next or nah, Keisha Knight Pulliam. Oh, Jesus. Would we have ever seen this coming? Rudy in the midst of a divorce while she's pregnant?
That's
come on. Okay,
aw.
so a little backstory for those who don't know. So Keisha Knight Pulliam is married. Well, yeah, she's currently married. And her husband of about 7 to 8 months, Ed Hartwell, who was recently formerly married to Lisa Wu from Atlanta Housewives, decided to file for a divorce. But he didn't tell her before he went down to the court.
And she just said she was pregnant too, like 4 days before that.
I just saw that she had her baby shower. So when I first saw it, but it was on the blog site. So I was like, you know what?
It's probably not true.
Hesitant. Yeah, I was like, let me check the sources. And then it came out that it was true. So she did an exclusive interview and she told her side of the story. But then Ed did another interview and their stories are not matching. So
Right.
she said, that he cheated early on in the relationship, about 2 months into the marriage, because they got married New Year's Day.
Right.
And 2 months later, she found out he cheated, and she gave him she told him, hey, I'm ready to go, but he begged her to stay. His side of the story is they rushed to get married, and he decided one day he didn't think that they made a good choice, and he said, you know what, I don't think we did it. We made the right choice. Let's kind of take a step back. So their stories aren't added up. And end of the day, they're now, I guess, separated. She's pregnant and he wants a paternity test because he said that while that 2-month mark, she was going out with her friends. She wasn't answering her phone. She was staying out late. Now, ladies and some guys, I don't know how y'all roll, but when your man's acting up, like the Beyonce song says, you go out, you do stuff because you want attention, right? You want him to see that you looking fly.
Dress on.
Yes, you go out. You want him to worry a little bit, to be a little jealous and stuff, but you don't really do anything. You just kind of whatever. So I could see her doing that. I don't know if it's true or not.
So should she? So what's the question then?
The question is, I'm sorry, this kind of hurts my heart. The question is, should she take the paternity test or not? Because he's saying he wants her to take it because she was going out.
I say she absolutely takes it and throws it in his face when it's proven that you are the father. What do you think, Gentry?
Yikes. I feel definitely go ahead and take the test and then move on. You know what I mean? move forward.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, and she's going to take the test. It's just his rationale for it, I think. Is
If he's paying for it.
Yeah, this is what I don't understand. That she went on, what was it? It was Extra or Entertainment Tonight
with Michelle.
She went on Entertainment Tonight and had, like, this was literally, what, 3 or 4 days?
The next day after the news broke.
That's a lot. To me, why would you go tell everyone your business now?
Well, it was already out there.
Well,
and she did one exclusive interview.
But here's the thing. It doesn't really matter what people think. There's a baby. So now your child will have to see the messiness versus you going, this is what your dad did into the public, but this is what I'm going to tell you.
But of all the celebrity babies, do you think this is the most messiest thing any child's going to have to find on the internet?
Well,
let's look at all the celebrities and the stuff that they got.
And there was a rumor from the Daily News this morning, not the actual website, but like just dailies happening this morning, that supposedly her and Big Tigger were having a secret relationship.
Well,
you know they used to date.
They dated, but he has a new girlfriend. The thing is, this is the thing with Atlanta. It's a bunch of black people, right? And everybody know everybody. If you're Rudy Huxtable, her character from The Cosby Show, and you're in Atlanta, everybody knows you're there, and everybody knows who you are. Do you think it's going to be easy to be creeping around? Don't you know somebody's going to see you?
Yes, yes.
It's not
People
easy.
can get very good at what they do.
So we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think. Use the hashtag BHL Next. Let us know what you think about this whole Keisha Knight Pulliam situation. All right, let's get into some questions about you, Gentry.
Yes.
Gentry. Okay, so I know you're from, is it Monroe or Monroe?
Monroe is how we say it, but it's spelled Monroe.
Some people, when you country, some people say Monroe.
Yeah,
Jamaica, that's how we would say it, Monroe.
There's a Monroe, Washington. It's just Monroe.
Oh,
like
yeah,
Mary.
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming from the thirds.
Monroe.
Yeah, the thirds.
Yeah.
So Monroe, North Carolina, you grew up small town.
Yes.
What was that like for you?
It was great, honestly. Like I'm very close to, my grandmother. I'm close to my aunts and uncles and stuff because I grew up, around them. And the majority of my family lives in North Carolina. And so family get-togethers at my grandma's house were always a lot of fun, a lot of cousins. I have 8 living aunts and uncles. And so I have a lot of cousins. I don't have any siblings, so they kind of became siblings to me.
Right.
Me and my mom lived with my grandma at a point in time and stuff. So we're all very close because of that. And, the older that I get, I find that it's so important to have that sort of background. I remember like shucking corn with my grandma.
Oh wow, y'all real country.
Shucking corn.
We shucked corn with her. My mom made me call my grandma every day after school and stuff. So there was just a lot of things that I feel like I don't know if kids that are raised in Los Angeles have that same sort of experience that I had.
The 20th century.
And it was like, and I feel like I gained a lot of respect for my elders from growing up in that sort of atmosphere and stuff. And I just hope that in the future, like any kids that I may have, I hope that I can like instill that in them, despite the fact that I have no intention of moving to North Carolina.
Right. Wait, was your family very supportive of you wanting to be an actor?
100%, and still are. Now granted, it's like my mom. She used to say stuff like, "Look, she'll watch this interview and be like, no, I didn't." I'm like, "Yes, you did." She used to say, she was like, "Why don't you just become like a doctor or a lawyer or something?" She used to always say that, and but really, she was the one when I was in first grade that put me in my first acting class.
Right.
So I was like, really? It's your fault.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So then what truly inspired you to say, hey, I'm in Monroe, North Carolina, I'm going to LA?
I mean, quite honestly, I've been trying to figure it out for a long time, because when you grow up in a place like that, you're not exposed to a lot of you're not exposed to any actors. Theater programs are pretty poor. Whenever I was I think a junior in high school, they opened up an arts high school, and I was like dying to go there, but they only had teachers for freshmen and sophomore students, so I wasn't able to go. But it's just it's very interesting because, like I said, you're not exposed to a lot of that stuff. So for those people that do end up making it out of North Carolina to pursue their dreams, it's like those people, in my opinion, are so driven because nobody guided them on how to do this. It's not like you grew up in a city that has that has people whose aunts or uncles were actors that they can be like, oh, well, there's this agency. It was like I went through going to John Casablanca, John Robert Powers, all these different little things.
Went way back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing it back and going into those offices, and they're like, yeah, your son is great and all this stuff. We just need like $2,000 for
John Robert Powers is the worst. Everybody's gone to John Robert Powers.
It's just it's really something to go and do that sort of thing, and you have a 14, 15-year-old kid that all they want to do is be on Disney Channel and be on That's So
Right,
Raven.
right.
You know, that's what you want to be on or whatever, because that's what's hot. And then to sit there and for somebody to tell you that they need, you know, $2,000 from you and your single parent mom, and for, you know, my mom to look over at me and be like, you know, Gentry, I can't do that. Like, I wish I could, but I can't afford that. And if you can make it past those sort of hurdles and still continue to figure out how to do this, you know, I feel like that's what makes like some of the most successful people is being like challenged for this to not work out and for you to still find a way outside of that.
Yeah.
All right, so you made it out of North Kakalaki.
I did.
You came on up to LA.
Sure did.
What was that feeling that you had when you booked your first commercial, your first national gig?
The first job I actually got was an Apple print job within the first, I think, 6 to 9 months that I had lived here in LA. And they flew me to Thailand.
What?
And I was there for 11 days, and it was supposed to be like friends on a trip.
Right.
And it was just like me and these like 3 other like young people, and we were just supposed to be walking around in Thailand and riding elephants and you know, walking the beaches and rock climbing and stuff. And they just did stock photography, so it wasn't actually a commercial, but financially it helped me so much to be able to continue to stay here, because my mom actually paid my rent for the first year I lived here with the money she had saved for me to go to college. And so she said, if this doesn't work out within a year, I can no longer help you. You can figure it out, but I can't help you do this any more than I have. So, you know, I'm very grateful for her. She's very influential in my progress as an actor. So, yeah.
Shout out to Mom.
Yeah, shout out to Mom.
Shout out to Mama. So you play Romeo on the cult show UnREAL, which is a crazy show. It's really good. What's it like? Because this is your first recurring role.
Right.
What has it been like?
Right. So, it's kind of crazy. I'll be honest. It was kind of crazy. You know, it was the first time I've ever had a sex scene on television.
What?
So
what did your mom say about that?
She was just like, well, you know, Gentry, I watched it with my eyes like this.
And she was like, I guess you're grown.
She's like, my coworkers texted me and said it looked good, so great. And like, you know, and moving on. But, you know, like I said, me and my mom are close, and so I do discuss that with her so that it doesn't come as a surprise. You know, she can choose to watch it if she wants to or not, but I just like to let her know. But yeah, being on UnREAL has been such an amazing experience to be. This is my first series regular role, so that was really great. But also to work with Constance Zimmer and Sherry Appleby and even some of my other castmates that were the contestants. You know, I learned so much from them. Some of them have worked more. Some of them have worked the same amount that I have. And so to be in that atmosphere and to be with them and to be learning from some of the best. You know, Constance just got nominated for an Emmy. You know, that's amazing to be to be rubbing elbows with people like that, coming from small town North Carolina to like being here, you know, 5 years later. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's
experience.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so we said earlier, you know, Megan mentioned we're going to get all in your business.
Yeah.
So with UnREAL being about a show that, you know, goes behind the scenes of a dating show, what's the biggest lie you told someone to get a date?
Oh man, you know what's funny is like I haven't really dated much. Like I haven't really dated much, especially in Los Angeles.
Right, you've been on your hustle.
I've been on my hustle, and the thing about it is like when you date, you gotta have a little bit of money. You gotta have a little bit of money,
LA especially.
That's true.
And as a male, it's like I growing up in the South, you know, we're taught
chivalry.
But can you cook?
Huh?
Can you cook? Can you walk?
I can prepare.
Can you order?
I can.
I'm trying to help you out.
You trying to help me out, and I need help.
You
know what I mean? But the thing about it is honestly, like I really did focus a lot of my energy on trying to pursue my dreams and stuff. So now it's like I have a little bit more space to possibly lie to somebody. But
so you're planning to lie.
I'm planning to lie.
What would you lie about?
In the future? Probably about where I'm at, so I can
they
like
can see you on TV.
Right, but it's like if I'm lying, they were
media.
like, oh, like maybe you. That's why I don't use Snapchat.
Oh.
That's why I don't use it, because I feel like when you get them stories on Snapchat,
Yep.
it was like, why you said that you were over here, meanwhile you at Six Flags.
Twitter, Facebook.
Twitter and
have
Facebook.
Location.
Yeah.
Listen,
see, you gotta lock it down.
There's actually frequent location services.
Yes.
Ooh, there is.
Yeah.
That is very,
That's
very
what I'm
true.
not gonna have. That's what I'm not gonna have.
I'm gonna say this
Stalk
though,
you.
because you guys don't know this, but James and Gentry know each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
They know. How do you guys know each other?
Oh boy.
We worked at the Counter together on Wilshire, right by the SAG office.
Yep. The Counter Gourmet Burger Restaurant.
Yes.
That's right.
Next to Marie Callender's.
And wait, when was this, by the way?
So 4 years ago, I think
2012.
2012. I remember I had been working there for about a year. And James came in, and I was doing takeout at the time, and I trained James, and then James ended up being like the trainer at a different location of that restaurant years later. But
so you're responsible for his success, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean,
was he the teacher?
He was.
Yeah.
Fun.
Nice.
Made it fun.
Because I mean, we just having fun. I was like, why are we taking this so seriously? We just selling burgers.
Right.
Like people come in and be like, can I get this validated? I was like, yeah, you can get it validated. It's not coming out of my paycheck.
Right.
So, but no, James was really cool. So it was really nice knowing that I was gonna be coming to do this interview and he would be here. Because for me, I tend to look at things as a marker, and so being here and seeing James in this atmosphere, and for me to be in this atmosphere and to know where I originally met him shows me the timeline of things and how we've both progressed in our lives, and so I'm grateful. I'm really grateful.
I'm about to shout out that.
Hallelujah.
All right.
Won't do it.
Quick in 4 years.
And I have to say too, I think for people listening who are trying to do everything that we all do in entertainment, familiar faces are always great, and I think it's all about. That's why you should always treat people with respect and dignity, because you never know where people are going to end up.
Never know.
Yeah.
Never know. It would have been so awkward if I would have been like a jerk to this dude.
I mean, it would have been more fun to hear about it.
It could be it could actually be a reality show. Love, go.
Right. So of course, UnREAL is about not a real reality show, but on the show it's a real reality show.
Right.
Would you ever do a reality show?
Absolutely not. No.
Never say never. Look at Mariah Carey.
Yeah, well, she can have that, but
Why wouldn't you?
For me, what I do as an actor, I just cherish the art form of that, and so I feel like if I'm going to entertain anybody, it's not going to be as Gentry White.
Right.
Because I was like, that's for me and my own like friends and stuff. I was like, but whenever I'm on screen, I want it to be because I'm like showcasing like my talent, and I feel like being on a reality show, I'm not showcasing you my talent. I'm like letting you into my business, and I was like, and I don't want you in my business. The only thing I want for you to want is to see the work that I'm doing, and that's why I respect a lot of people like Nate Parker or Denzel Washington or a lot of these other actors who you don't hear much about them in the media and everything, because they want for their work to speak for itself, and that's what I appreciate a lot about.
And you still know who they are.
And you still know who they are, and it was like they might not be as famous as like a Kim Kardashian or whatever, but it was like they're making money, they're doing what they love, and they have families, and they're happy, and that's all that I want at the end of the day.
Okay, so you don't do reality, but do you watch reality shows?
I don't watch reality shows either, because in my mind I feel like it's just taking space for a television show that an actor could be on.
You make me feel so dumb right now.
No, but don't feel dumb. No, I did watch reality shows. I used to watch a lot of stuff on MTV in high school. You know, I watched Made. I used to watch
Real World Road
Rules.
Okay.
I used to watch the Challenges. I used to watch Next, Laguna Beach, The Hills. Oh my gosh, I was all up in that.
All right, because you made me feel like I need to pick up a book.
No, look, don't get me on no books. Like I got a Kindle, but I only got about 3 books on that thing.
Right.
So, this is a kind of switching topics a little bit. Racial profiling has been addressed numerous times in TV. Shonda Rhimes did it in that episode of Scandal. There's a new Fox show called Shots Fired coming out. It's very relevant. So how does your scene on UnREAL about this add to the conversation?
I mean, like, obviously, it's like anytime a black person, male or female, is shot by a police officer, that's immediately what it's about.
Right.
And I feel as though it's come to the forefront of our attention because of social media, which I think is fantastic, because we need to know more about it. We need to be so frustrated about it that the conversation continues until there's some sort of major change that comes from this. I feel as though I was super grateful to be able to be the one getting shot in this particular television series, because I like being a part of the conversation. I do have things that I want to say about it. And, I do feel sometimes I'm a little limited for how much I can say without getting in too much trouble. But, with UnREAL, the one thing that I do wish is that we would have been able to talk more about that situation. At the end of the day, the show isn't about Romeo and him being shot. It's still about, Rachel and Quinn and their experience with something like that has happened. But I do wish that if we had more time, that we could have been able to really dive into what happened to the police officer. How does Romeo feel about this if he's still alive? And everything like that.
Do you want to drop something?
I have nothing to drop.
Okay.
Gentry is alive.
Can we get
see what
the
happens
exclusive?
to Romeo.
Right.
But yeah.
And I know BJ Britt on the
my
show. BJ has been here several times.
Stop.
Like how he's been right in your seat. He's been on AfterBuzz TV.
I can smell him. I can smell him.
How is it behind the scenes? Because he's really goofy, just like you.
Dude.
What is it like for you guys?
Okay, funny thing about me and BJ. So I moved out here. I was almost 21 years old. I turned 21 16 days after I moved here. And BJ, my uncle and BJ are in the same fraternity. They're both Kappas. And my uncle, like everybody's aunt and uncle when you move to a big city, like, oh, I got a friend out there. Let me see if I can get you in touch with him and this and that or whatever. And so my uncle put me in touch with BJ. And so I text him, and BJ was already on Vampire Diaries, and I thought that was a huge deal, and and everything. So I'm texting him. He's like encouraging me. He's like, I ran into him at a couple of commercial auditions and this and that. And so 5 years later, to be able to play relatives,
right?
That's amazing. And not only that, it's like
world.
we're both from North Carolina. He and I, we both had similar accents. And whenever I get around him, my accent gets thicker and thicker and thicker. And so behind the scenes, it's funny because UnREAL, the first season, you have this British gentleman, and so that's what the set feels like. It's like this British guy is there, whatever. When me and BJ got on that set, we was in there. In our trailers, we had the Bluetooth speaker on. We was in there. The trailer just shaking. Cause we in there just dancing, going over our lines and stuff. And no matter what, we're coming up with little like side jokes and everything.
Right.
And BJ is just a lot of fun to work with. He really does brighten up a set, and he's super charming. He's a lot like his character on the show. And I really appreciate working with him because he inspires me and shows me like just to keep going, And so he's very. I kind of do see him as like a big brother. And there's a couple of lines that I say on the show that they actually made it into the cut that were actually BJ's sayings. Things that he says regularly, and I just took it. And he'd be texting me during the show, like, I can't believe they put that in there. I can't believe they put that in there. So yeah, BJ's good people, very good people.
Now the other show you work on is Turn Washington Spies, and you're playing Billy Lee, who's a servant to George Washington.
Yeah.
Now, what is that like channeling that? It's kind of hard. That basically being a slave.
Yeah.
That psyche. Like how does that feel to you as an actor and as a black man?
Right. Playing a slave, I know this might sound crazy, but playing a slave is something that I've always wanted to do. And Turn allowed me to do that in a way that I didn't expect, because originally when I auditioned for that show, I auditioned for season 1 for a different character. And then I didn't get that part, but in season 2, they were like, we want to see Gentry for this role of Billy Lee. And so I went in, and and if I audition for a slave role, I usually wear a shirt that has like a rip in it. I have this one shirt.
So you wear a Kanye outfit?
Yeah, I was like, basically, and I was like, I try to give them that image of what it would be like. And so I go into the audition, I get the part, and then I fly out for the fitting. And during the fitting, I'm looking at the clothes, and I was like, well, where are the clothes that I would be wearing? I'm assuming that I'm gonna wear like some cotton picking clothes. I know how dark I am. I know where my place would be. You know what I mean? I know where my place would be.
I can't with you.
But you know what?
I get you.
She was like, this is your suit. She's like, Billy Lee was like. George Washington's right-hand man. So therefore, it's like you wouldn't wear the stuff that people that would work on the field would wear. You would wear stuff that he would wear himself. And so I never had been educated about that growing up in school. Like when you think of slaves, you don't think about them wearing fine clothing or having their hair done. And it was like my hair is done every day. I have a ponytail on the show, which I thought was kind of cool. Because usually, like, with black hair, and especially with black men, it was like they give us like 2 hairstyles.
Right.
And so
like
to be able
puffier.
and so to be on a show that they actually like did something with my hair, I get to wear these really cool clothes. I get to, put on this accent and to try and embody my ancestors' lives or whatever. It's like that fulfills me as an artist and as an actor, and so I really love being a part of that show. And we just got picked up for season 4. This is the final season.
Congratulations.
Yeah, final season of the show. So hopefully I'll get to come back. I recur on that show, so it's kind of like you never really know, but hopefully Billy Lee will make an appearance again.
Yeah.
Good to see you back.
I know, right? Let's talk about your sign language, though.
I want to know, why did you decide to learn how to sign?
I've always been fascinated with sign language. In my head, me and one of my really good friends that I grew up with at church, her family used to sit on the other side, because when you go to church regularly.
I was gonna ask you, do you get that from church? Where there's always someone in the front.
When you everybody got their kind of assigned seat at church.
Yeah.
It's because if you come every Sunday, that third pew from the front, that's where the such and such family sit. So me and my family would sit here, their family would sit on the other side, but she and I will always be making jokes and stuff, because somebody would go up and talk, and I'll be like, look at did you see that? Everyone would be like, stop. So I was like, how cool would it be if we could talk or whatever without, and so that's kind of how it started.
For the wrong reason.
There's a wrong reason, but then I found out how it kind of came easily, and I realized that we actually do a lot of hand gestures that are actually sign language just in our everyday speaking.
Like which ones?
If you say a lot, you this is many, many in sign language, or a lot, you just open up. It's those simple things are already signs, and so then it made me a little bit more curious about how to do it. Then the TV show came out on Freeform, which is the new name for ABC Family. Shout out, I don't know, but anyway, they put up a show called Switched at Birth, and that show is pretty much a lot of sign language on there. So what I would do is I found this website that teaches you how to do sign language for free, and it's about 34 lessons on this website, and they show you this girl, there's videos, and they show you this girl who starts out, and by the end of this she's fluent in sign language.
Wow.
And so you go through this class with her, and so what I would do is I would take these lessons for an hour, then I would watch Switched at Birth for an hour and try to figure out what they were saying before I read the subtitles. Then I'd go back and do another lesson, and I would kind of do that every day before I would go to work, and I don't know, I just kind of fell in love with it. But then I made 3 friends that are deaf, but they live in Utah, so I was never really able to
say hi to them, to give them a shout out.
What's up? I love you guys. I don't know. It's hard because I don't do it often. But I would love to. I thought about going to meetup groups and stuff, but
so basically we're gonna see you at someone's church. I'm like, Gentry, what you doing? I'm
I'm trying to get my seat. I'm trying to
sign
service.
Exactly.
I'm the sign language guy here. Okay. All right. I love that. I love it. So so as far as you and getting into film, what do you want your breakout role to be?
My breakout role to be playing the son or nephew of Viola Davis in an independent movie where we're just in a whole bunch of struggle and strife. I just want ugly, little to no makeup, nappy hair. I just want something, or maybe we could be well-to-do and still have problems.
I don't say
You know what I mean?
Or you could just do mini movies.
Or we could do mini movies. We could do a franchise.
That's what I'm saying.
But I would love. Anytime I think about having a parent in a project, Viola Davis is usually the first person in my mind.
I love it.
And then as a father, I think about the guy that did the Allstate commercials. Who was the president on 24. I'm forgetting his name right now. Idris Elba would be my uncle.
Can I sit on that day?
Hey, look at it. Look, just people of anybody in that area. Me and Nate Parker would be brothers, something like that.
Viola Davis, you've been called out.
Yeah, many times because I talk about you a lot.
Is there a certain director that you would want to work with?
I would love to work with Ava DuVernay.
Yes.
I would love to work with her. I would like to work with. Really, I'll be honest. She's first and foremost on my list. I would like to work with Nate Parker. I haven't seen Birth of a Nation, but I think I've mentioned that dude 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But he really does speak to me as an artist, because I just like how he goes about doing the work that he does. And I like what he stands for, and I just think he's a good guy, and I like people that are low key, that you don't know much about, and so he lets the work speak for him. So I would like to be like that, to follow in anybody's footsteps. That would be it.
Now you're pretty focused on this career. If you could choose another, what would it be?
I would probably be like a social worker or some sort of counselor.
Why?
Yeah. I love talking to people, and I like hearing people's issues and concerns with their lives and with the world, and in my mind, it just helps me to see that we're all so similar at the end of the day. And when we have struggles and strifes with one another, it's usually just because we haven't communicated what we see and how we see it. And I feel as though I have an ability to like talk to people and to kind of bring some more oneness to the world. And if I could do that before I die, like I would be happy as well. You know, and as an actor, I feel like I'm able to do that with what I do and being in projects like UnREAL that have a black bachelor and bring these things to the light, or being on a show like Turn, which shows you the relationship that George Washington may have had with his with one of his slaves. You know, and that sort of thing, and then to have the platform to be able to speak to for me, I care a lot about like Black and Latino kids because that's what I grew up around. And so to inspire them to see themselves as more than the atmosphere that they may have grown up in is my focus. And so if I can do that through my acting, that fulfills me the most. So I would probably be a social worker or some sort of school counselor, something that to brighten the minds of kids whose situations might not allow them to see themselves to be as great as they actually are.
Right.
Shout out to the social workers.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of brightening minds, I know you like to write science fiction.
Yeah.
I'm a science fiction nerd. What's your favorite sci-fi TV show or movie?
Okay. I really the Harry Potter series is beautiful. You know, I've watched a lot of anime, and the anime that I watch tends to be very it's for adults. It's not like it's dark, and a lot of times the ones that I watch end up becoming movies. There's a movie coming out called Death Note that was based on Japanese anime. I actually auditioned for the movie, and I was just honored to even audition for it because it's such a good storyline. But I guess with the whole fantasy writing and everything, the main reason I did it is because with movies like Harry Potter and Hunger Games and I Am Number 4, The Covenant, all these different types of movies, there tends to be a Caucasian lead, male or female. And one day it just hit me. I was like, it makes no sense that this is a fantasy story and it can't have somebody of ethnicity as the main lead. I was like, I don't want to be somebody's best friend that's telling them like, guys, we shouldn't use your powers for this kind of stuff. I want to be the dude with the powers that the white friend is telling, like you shouldn't do this kind of thing.
Or the Latino friend,
or you know, the Middle Eastern friend. Everybody needs representation in this, and so that's what got me to start writing it, and it kind of took off from there. And like quite naturally, Viola Davis, you know, that she was in my mind whenever I was writing the parents for my characters and stuff. And sign language is also applied into it as well. Yeah, because I was like, when I say I want to bring everybody in, it's like redhead people that are deaf, you know, people that have disabilities. Everybody can be represented if we start thinking outside of the box. And that's what's so important. And it's like we don't have to continue to have this sort of Caucasian thing to be our foundation, and then we have to go from there. It's like I want to see Black girls with like all natural hair in a lot more movies and stuff. You know, the Iron Man just came out with their new comic, and it's a Black girl that's gonna be like, you know, Iron Woman or whatever. She has natural hair, beautiful hoop earrings, like, you know, this curvaceous body, and I was like, and she's dark skinned, and I was like, that's what you know, that's what needs to be seen more often than not.
And then sometimes you can have people, I think it's Zoe Kravitz that's gonna be in the next Thor.
Yes, she is.
And people were saying, that's not how it's supposed to be. And it's like, but it doesn't say it doesn't. It can't be that. Like,
why?
Open up.
Technically, X-Men Storm is supposed to be the leader, but I'm not going to get into that. But do you think that there also needs to be more diversity in the content creators, the people that are making the decisions, from the executives and the writers, to make these projects happen?
Well, sure. I mean, and it's like, you need like, I think you need the next generation of people that are coming up, I feel like have that mindset. So I think it's more of a matter of like kind of transitioning those people that are still left in the past out, or either y'all need to switch it or figure out what you need to do. Because I was like, these young people that are coming up, I was like, our mentality of what is normal is completely different than what that once was. You know, we're mixing it up, and we're shaking things up, and I want for there to be more risk taken. There has to be more risk taken with the content that we see, because at the end of the day, that is what children will look at, and that is what they will dress up as during Halloween. That's what they will like aspire to be. and everything. And I was like, and I want for little black girls to be cool having no hair. You know, I used to live in Africa after I graduated from high school.
Nice.
And so to be around all these little dark-skinned black girls that when they go to school, all of them have their head shaved off. But it was like in the States, like that would make a black girl feel so, insecure. And I was like, but you're so beautiful. I was like, and we have such great head shapes. And like, I was like, your facial structure alone is strong enough for you to walk around anywhere confidently, you know? And I was like, and so if we have more representation of that sort of thing, I feel as though it would brighten these girls and like my cousins and, all my little friends that I knew in North Carolina that felt less than because of like what they looked like. And so, I don't know, I'm very passionate about that kind of stuff. So
keep being passionate. We need those films.
And so Turn Season 4, we have Sci-Fi in development. What other projects you have coming up in the pipeline? Can we see you anywhere else soon?
Crazy enough, I actually just booked a short film, which I'm very passionate about short films as well, because I feel like they're a calling card to something
Absolutely.
bigger. And I just booked a Warner Brothers short film with the director, J.D. Dillard, who I think his project went to Sundance, and it's called Slight. I auditioned for his movie about a year ago, and he cast me in this short. But his feature, Slight, was so interesting because it was about a black boy who ultimately ends up selling drugs or whatever to try to get his family out of some situation. We've heard that before. However, his passion is to become a magician. And so he applies becoming a magician to selling these drugs, and then there's this whole thing that comes from that. And I thought that was so unique because it still plays on what you know a black dude to be like, but then there's this element of fantasy and sci-fi to it as well. And so I can really appreciate that. So he and I have kept in touch, and so he cast me in a project yesterday.
Wow,
Congratulations again.
Awesome.
Now, you've been making some great leaps and strides since you've been here. What advice would you give someone who's coming from a small town and wants to make it big?
Be prepared to sacrifice everything. You have to be able to sacrifice everything. And I don't mean like, don't sacrifice your soul. I'm not saying go
or
out
drinking
and like,
water. You
don't need to be a Scientologist.
Right. Like I was like, but you need to. Like, I mean, I'll share a little bit with you all. Like, I slept on the couch for the first 3 years I lived here. And it wasn't that I couldn't afford to have a bed, but it was like I needed to afford headshots and acting classes. And I couldn't do both in my mind. And I was like, I needed to just be able to have enough money to make sure my car was running so I could get to and from auditions. I needed to make sure that the headshots were the best quality that they could be. You have to have money, and you have to be able to save. So I didn't go out a lot. I didn't date and stuff because it was like I needed
invest in yourself.
You had to invest in yourself, and in my mind I was like, I know one day like the fruits of my labors will come. It's just not today. And that's what you have to remember is that sacrifice everything. And even when people make you feel like how awkward it may have been for me to be sleeping on the couch and for my roommates' friends to walk in and be like, well, where's your bedroom? And I was like, I sleep on the couch. Like, that feeling always made me feel so uncomfortable, but I would have to shake it off and walk to work and see James and just be like, it's like I had to just like shake it off and know that what I was doing was for a greater purpose outside of like whatever they might think of me. Because at the end of the day, it's like I'm proud of myself for the success that I have had up to today. And, now I have a king-size California Tempur-Pedic.
California King?
California King, Tempur-Pedic, like living that life.
And their opinions are not paying any of your bills.
At all. And so it's like, remember that you have to be prepared to sacrifice. You don't need a bedroom. It's like if somebody's like, wants you to share a bedroom, that's what you do until you get to where you can financially support yourself. It's all about stepping stones. Don't try to like leap whenever you just need to be walking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So...
You better say that.
Say it again.
Say that.
It's a shiver for you.
That's what I'm telling you.
We have had such a great time with you here today, Gentry. Before we get out of here, where can all of your fans find you on social media?
At Gentry White on Twitter, at Gentry White on Instagram. I think my Snapchat name is Get It Got It. I made it a while back, but I don't use it too often. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook under just Gentry White. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much. We love all the conversation we've had here with you today. Make sure you guys check this man out on UnREAL Lifetime every Monday, 10/9 Central. And where can we find you guys?
You can find me at James Ward III, III. That's a James Ward, II across the board. Make sure to use the hashtag BHL Next. Let us know any other guests you'd like to see and engage with us.
And you can find me on Instagram at Michelle_Madison TV.
Hey.
And you can find me, Megan Thomas, at McScoop on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all over your social media. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tune in next week right here on BHL Next. See ya.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.